percentage yield? Percentage yield is actual yield divided by theoretical yield multiplied by 100 to get it to percent. What does this mean, and where do we get this information from? Remember that when we solve equation-based problems, we need to identify what is required, what is given, and have a balanced equation for the reaction. We then use the required and given information to write our question in an equation format. Question mark required unit is equal to the given value and its unit. Now we have the question down, but how do we solve for it? We use a conversion factor which we get from the balanced equation. The conversion factor must have the required unit at the top to introduce the required unit, and it must have the given unit at the bottom to cancel away the given unit. The balanced equation gives us a particle reacting ratio, mole-mole reacting ratio, which we might need to convert into whatever is applicable to this particular question. It might be a mass-mass ratio, mass STP volume ratio, a volume-volume ratio. All that we've dealt with in another movie. What we want to focus on here is percentage yield. Actual yield divided by theoretical yield multiplied by 100%. How do we get actual yield and theoretical yield? The answer obtained by the method shown here, that is the theoretical yield. How much substance would be produced if as much is produced as what would be predicted by the reacting ratio? And that would be the case if everything was pure and if everything continued to completion in the reaction. But sometimes what we actually get, the actual yield, meaning what is practically measured in the laboratory, is not the same as the theoretical yield. Maybe because the reaction doesn't go to completion, or maybe because of some impurity. So in a question about percentage yield, you would always be given the actual yield, which you put at the top of the equation here. So you would be told how much of a certain product is formed. And that means how much actually forms when you measure it in the laboratory, and you do this practically. Then you would need to get the theoretical yield. Probably they wouldn't give that to you just straight like that, because then that would be very easy. If they do, well, that's fantastic. But probably you would have to calculate the theoretical yield. And that's actually not difficult, because it's simply the answer to the kind of question that we were dealing with reactions.